We welcome you to the Priscilla R. Tyson Cultural Arts Center for our Conversations and Coffee on this 15th day in the month of May 2025. I'm Ellen O'Shaughnessy, coordinator of the program. We're delighted to have with us today Curtis J. Golden. J standing for Jerome, a truly gifted painter. As many of us know, we're here again to celebrate. Curtis was born in 1965 in Columbus, where he currently lives and works with his lovely wife, Elisa. Elisa, where are you? They're great. And 3 of his 16 grandchildren, one of whom is here with us now, Ezekiel. Great. A lifelong artist, Curtis's focus since 2020 has been the beauty of birds and their freedom of movement within their surroundings. Curtis shared the beauty in a previous Conversations and Coffee. Do you remember that? It was wonderful. And we have several of those birds back with us today. Curtis says that in working with acrylics, he finds freedom in having so many colors available to him. The fluidity of mixing and blending acrylics allows him, he says, the ability to capture the essence that he's trying to find in creating his art. He says, I appreciate the texture and finish that I see when I complete my paintings. At the young age of 5, Curtis was diagnosed with hemophilia. During his lengthy hospital stays, his mother brought him coloring books to ease his boredom. Thus began his artist's journey. He advanced to using paint and learned the skill of blending colors. And when he received recognition and awards for his painting of a local World War II veteran, Curtis began to see a future in art. At 13, Curtis was introduced to the great Roman Johnson, a Columbus-based artist who took Curtis on as a mentee and not only taught him painting techniques, but also how to transfer his creativity and vision to the canvas. He continued to work with his mentor until Mr. Johnson died in 2006. Then in early adulthood, Curtis ventured out on his own, displaying artwork at several different venues and showings in Columbus, including Art for Life at the Columbus Museum of Art. Always seeking to deepen his skills, he started studying here at the Priscilla R. Tyson Cultural Arts Center, where he learned more about technique and expression and how to utilize different types of tools to supplement his style. Moving then to Zanesville, Ohio, Curtis met Paul Emery, and Wayne Savage, and began working under their guidance at the Paul Emery Gallery. Curtis presented works at the Zanesville Museum and often in the Zanesville Every First Friday events. Continuing to explore, Curtis moved on to Newark, Ohio 6 years later, working directly with the Works Gallery, where he would continue to present his art until finally returning back to his roots in Columbus in 2017. Here in Columbus, he continues his study at the Cultural Arts Center. He has had several showings here at the Cultural Arts Center, and as I shared, he's been a guest in our Conversations and Coffee program. He shared his work at the Art Up Gallery in Equitas Health, where he was the first featured artist. Curtis paints regularly for other showings and for commission pieces for those who love the arts. Curtis has 5 children, 16 grandchildren, an incredible wife, Elisa. There you are. He enjoys spending his time with his family, many of whom you will find in his works. And Curtis, you have more family members. Who are some?
Raise your
Oh, yeah, beautiful. Wonderful. We're so happy you're here. So, thank you for being with us again and celebrating your gift of creativity, your love for color, and your genius talent for painting. I could see that in people's eyes as they would go up to you. Ah, Curtis is here celebrating. Thank you. Thank you.
These are pictures of Roman Johnson. That was my mentor. This is a self-portrait of Roman Johnson to the left. And that's when I just started studying with Roman. And we were studying the expressions. You know, he started with the nose, eyes, and ears, you know, and fundamentally the whole subject matter of the human subject. Yeah. And this painting right here was a painting from Roman Johnson's mentor, was Emerson Burkhart. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Emerson, but it's like the third string of legacy for artists. You know, before Roman passed, he said, "Make sure that I keep the legacy going." You know, but through that process, I was hit and miss through struggles in life itself. But you know, I've always found the importance when I thought that I was done with art. Somehow, art would just come back to my life. You know, but then I understood it was a deeper expression. You know, just go with the flow and try to understand it more. So I dove deeper inside, you know, through the arts and done a few travels, you know, and art has always been through that passion with my travels that I was able to get more in depth with it, you know, and one of the fundamentals was just the importance of natural life. You know, I appreciated the simple things as far as reason why I'm stuck with the bird series. It helped me through my hard trials. You know, with my physical health, you know, been burdened with hemophilia. It's a bleeding disorder. So if I get cut or anything like that, I can bleed, you know, tremendously. But through the process, it's birds. I'd be in the hospital rooms, and I'd look out the window, and you know, subject would be birds. You know, so I drew a passion of birds. So I figured they have beautiful colorizations, and they have a life such as ours. They feed their youngins, and you know, look after their youngins. And I thought that was so fascinating. But this picture here intrigued me. You know, it's a redhead crane. So the passion of that was the humanistic value. It seemed like it has character. If you look in the eyes of it, you know, it's looking right at you, but it's got a smirk, like, you know, it's smiling and, you know, and humor. You know, so I thought that was just a cute painting. This is also the redhead cranes, you know, that, you know, they're from South Asia, you know, so they're incredible.
Keep that microphone right in front of your face.
Okay. All right. This is a blue-footed booby. You know, they're also from South Asia. But the characteristics is that, you know, some of the things I always look at is eyes. And that, you know, looking at the eyes, it says everything. Like he's in his own beautiful world, but, you know, he's enjoying what he's doing.
So when you're saying a lot of these birds are from Asia?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
So when you were in the hospital, did you paint anything that you saw through the windows while you were at the hospital?
Yeah, basically living in Ohio, you usually see the robins, blue jays, you know, so my fascination was blue jays. They strictly have some characters that's they're more on the aggressive side. And one one of the things I noticed was it was a blackbird trying to get, you know, to the eggs. And the mother wouldn't let it even get near, and it was fighting the black bird off, not to even get to the eggs. So through one of those times, I got a chance to see that, and it was that let me know it's like they strictly have character, through humanistic energies.
While you were in the hospital, what did it do
Yeah.
for you?
Kept me inspired of living, it's and also gave me a subject matter, for the arts. Like I said, I saw the beautiful colorizations that they have, so it transcended to other birds where I can just visualize, just knowing those simple, simplistic things, their values, and I, oh, okay, kind of was enamored, by birds. Okay, this is a painting that the gladiolas, that I got a chance to see, and the hummingbird. They were so small, I almost didn't see it, and they're so fast. But I used the inspiration of that and did the best I could through painting it. Yeah.
They've returned, haven't they? They've
Yes,
been
they-
with us
Yes.
for what, about 2 or 3 weeks now?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Right. And this is a purple goose gray. Yeah, they're Canada, and also they're North America, North America. And this is our, Ohio cranes. So. And this bird here is a Canadian and North American bird, and it's a waxworm. They eat red berries, cranberries, and berries, crab apples.
So do you go out hiking at all to look at the birds, or you just?
I did when I got a chance to get out. Right now I'm kind of stayed in because of my health, but through that purpose, yeah, which is fun too because I liked fishing and hiking. Yeah.
Are you painting on site or are you painting from photographs?
I paint sometimes through Google. I'll do a search and see if I can see some references, and go from the references.
He always was having me. He's always having me with my camera. So if we see something, I better catch that picture.
And the saying is, catch the man before he falls out the window.
Everybody hear that?
Catch the man before he falls out the window. It's like catch it right now. Oh, jeez. Okay, this is on reference of my imagination just but I looked up one references for that also, and so beautiful. Now this is a painting I'd done some time ago, the African bird eaters, bee eaters. So they're no, you're fine. You're fine. So this is a northern bird also, and honestly, I forgot the name of that. You guys forgive me. Goldfinch, indeed. Yeah, goldfinch. Yeah. And this is a cardinal that was right in front of our house, and I saw the expression of that, and paired up a white fence and the sunflowers, which I love sunflowers also. Yeah. And the extensiveness on the necks. I saw the expression with the birds there. So, and this, I was using technique for the colorizations and the development with paints, building upon color and also the depth of paint on usage. But I don't have a picture of my palette, but my palette was used with probably about 20 different colors that I was able to formulate from painting. And this was a painting I'd done a few years ago. That the painting of the bird was sitting on the dock, and I thought that was fascinating to paint. And this is representation of Mother's Day. I wanted to do a still life. Sometimes some of the artists will, kind of understand too, is like keeping your hand and brain working. That was one of those still lifes that I wanted to.
My favorite Mother's Day cards. Thank
Yes,
you.
yeah.
It's wonderful.
So this
Are you sketching first and painting?
some is I paint freely, and some I sketch. The paintings that I see that it's going to take a lot of detail, that's what I usually sketch with. But sometimes if I see that I can probably use different size brushes, then I'll paint. Which is a study still, because I want to get to a point where I'm able to use brushes more fluently, and that's always, to me, I recognize it as a lifetime practice. All right. So I know that I would never get to the sense of perfection of just painting, but I challenged myself, to see if I can use this defined brush and see much as I can make of that, and using up formulations with the brush. So it's a study.
Any
Still a
questions
study.
about that? That process.
I like the one that you just had up there. The light is really good on that. The coloring in the sky. Just
Yeah.
gives you a real nice feeling.
Alrighty.
And how you did the blues,
Yeah.
really nice.
Alrighty. Now this painting right here, I was working with my friend Robbie. Robbie, I think is one of the better artists that I, was inspired by. So I was under one of her studies, and we were working with the color formulations, and far as putting the paint close together, far as the tones, as much as possible. So that was an exercise painting. So I have another painting that I had done some time ago that it had the fluidity of the purples, the purple hues.
Same one?
Yeah, that is the painting there. I have another one that size is bigger, but it had the same color formulations. So I thought I'd get a painting such as that to work with the other painting. Yeah. So this picture right here was symbolic. I was looking, reading some article, and it was sharing that the Ethiopian culture has one of the oldest Bibles that was transcribed of 348 after Christ. So I was like mind blown, like, wow, this is so amazing. So I was inspired and intrigued with that. So I formulated that painting, kind of find out it was talking about the tribes of Israel, where at that time that it talks about in the Bible, where they split up and went to different countries. So I wanted to, put that on a subject, of creativity. Yeah. All right. This picture, I don't know if you heard my bio. This picture right here, I met a gentleman that was 103 years old, the World War II veteran, and I had a chance to conversate with him at least about six hours. And so it happened to be the time that I was really in depth in study. So I asked him, could I paint him? And that was the pictures, because of the history and the time. the guy, 103 years old, and just to hear the stories of the World War II, and that's one of my favorite paintings because to me, in getting into it, I was just beginning into the arts, and it gave me so much to understand the time that I was creating that painting and significance. I learned so much, the time, history, and the value of people. What us in the community brings. It was inspirational. So that painting will never leave my thoughts. This was another subject, and we're speaking on one where just using the brush or sketching. This painting right here I was exercising just to utilize a brush. So it was brush strokes and exercising the sizes of brushes. And I think this was 9, 2, 1, and 6, the brushes I used. And it's my grandkids. We were out in the park. Okay. We were out in the park, and I saw the kids in their own world. And they were just having fun, and it's like, you couldn't take their energy away from those bubbles. So I thought it was just a cute picture and decided to give it a paint and created that.
I don't understand any of this, so it's a real basic question. Do you do only oil or acrylic? And what's the difference?
I utilize both. I exercise both. Reason why I use both, I like both of them actually. Oils, it's the process of a longer technique, because oil's dry, a little slower. Acrylics dry fast. So there's a method to each of them. The acrylics, I try to utilize different tools as far as mediums, to slow the process down for acrylics. But oils, I just go because I know that the detail that the oils bring out will kind of finesse the painting itself when you deal with fine lines. Yeah. And this is one of my favorite uncles. He owns a Creole food restaurant, and that's him there. He happened to come. So.
When we was coming up, I always tried to install in doing what you love.
Yeah.
Because when you do what you love, it opens doors for you.
Yes.
I'm just proud of it.
I'm glad he had the opportunity to come, but I had done this painting last year. He's doing a transition to a bigger, better building. So I thought this would be an honor, to let him know, that he's well appreciated in the community. Yeah. So, all right. All righty. This is my son here and my grandson. So I took my grandson to the barbershop, and the time that he got his hair cut, he didn't want to get his hair cut, but he had the expression on his face, and I said, "Oh God, that's a terrific subject." It says everything, as far as how he feels. All right. And this again, we had the opportunity to get out for a bit. So I had a cousin that stopped by, and he wanted to come over and sit and talk, and I was trying to get out because I wanted to use my time in freelance of inspiration and painting, in the outdoors. So I gave him my guitar and told him to put the hat on and took him to Schiller Park and painted him my grandson there. So it was another subject of exercising time and painting. So through this whole process, I got a new diagnosis that me and my wife is Gary battled through. But on this journey, it's like I hate to express that I just got diagnosed with cancer, but we know we're going to pull through it. Had some good positive feedbacks from the doctor, but with family and faith, I think everything will be okay. So I think everybody should take a look in those areas of cancer because it's wide of somebody in their family is probably dealing with those such crisis. So I think they should develop an area of some kind of support or donation to the Cancer Society.
So, through all of his health issues and processes, the one thing that keeps Curtis going is his art.
Yeah.
This is where he can escape and take his mind away of all the issues that come with it and the doctor's appointments and all of those, that thought process. And so when he gets into his paint, he's just in a whole nother world. You can talk to him and you're not going to normally get a response normally because he's like drifting. So the art for me is an inspiration just because it inspires him. And I see that through all of his health journeys, it has been his escape place. And so I'm just really glad that he has this as a part of his life.
Thank you, and I can see those tears in your eyes. How loving, how loving. Oh. Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
I volunteer at the Worthington Thrift Shop twice
Yeah.
a week, and every single penny that is spent in that store goes to the Columbus Cancer Clinic,
Awesome.
and not the
Yeah.
national one, just stays
Yeah,
local.
yeah.
And every single person there is a volunteer. So I just want, we're doing
Yeah.
our bit.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
I got here late. Someone brought me, and I have to wait. I live in the senior center. But are those in any particular order of when you did them? All oil, right?
No. All those formulations is acrylic.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I use mediums to help with the process, and I use a little bit of glaze that helps with acrylics, and then it smooths the paint out too because when you paint you want to use a smooth stroke, so it helps layer the paint properly. Yeah, sure.
With regards to your question, so one of the things that I really can't watch Curtis paint too much because he'll start one painting and he'll do it like for a half hour and then he's like on another one and then he's on another one. So there's like never a pattern of let's do this painting, get it done. So then I'm normally yelling down the steps, did you fix the eye on that one? Especially when he's preparing for these types of things. So I guess that's a part of an artist's life, I'm sure. But yeah, I just wanted to make that comment.
It's called multitasking.
Follow up to that question, can you
Yeah.
describe your paint area, your work area?
Far as my work area,
You go first. Work area, the space around where you work, can you describe it?
far as organization,
Anything.
oh,
A lot of us live in disorganization,
Where are you creating?
very much disorganized. I don't define organization. I don't define it.
So where are you? In the garage or where?
Oh, I have a studio. It's Leonard Avenue. Was it North Leonard? Yeah. It's disorganized.
Yeah, so I'm going to add on to this. So this collection was not at the studio. This was in our living room. And so our living room looks like a painting because there's 50,000 million paints and all of everything that he needs within my living room. So, yeah, wherever Curtis is the type of person, if he gets inspired, it doesn't really matter where he is. If he has the stuff to do something with, he's just going to do it wherever he's at.
Wonderful.
I think of freedom.
I get to describe his studio too. I've been to his studio and it's definitely very interesting. But the other studio I get to visit is in the home, and he and Elisa are raising 3 grandchildren. The oldest one's 9, and those children are right in the midst of everything that's going on. It's one of the most amazing things to get to experience, to see how he's able to create in all the work he does in the midst of his life.
Well, also on top of that, especially on the weekends with his health conditions, he can't do as much of the normal stuff that he was used to doing with the kids. So I'll come down on Saturdays and he'll be painting, and that the kids will be painting. They'll each be somewhere on my nice wood floor getting paint everywhere, but painting along with their papas. So yeah.
Curtis, I'm amazed by the amount of work, the new work that you have, because I knew about your health issues, and it's really, I'm in awe of how you could create this beautiful work during these few last months. I've seen the sunset when you started it, but you pulled through on your own, and it's just amazing. I love how it came out.
Well, the techniques that we went through, it helped very much. It was one of the studies that I knew I had to work in those areas, and you kind of exercised me mentally through that. And
Looks amazing. And one thing that fascinates me is how you were stuck in an hospital bed and you fell in love with birds that are free. The freedom of the bird that flies and goes wherever, and you were there. And this, I think it says a lot about the inspiration and how you, it inspired. You said it inspired you to live looking at the birds. And that's fascinating.
The simplicity I seen in birds, it's like they didn't have no such, what is worry to them? They're not even concentrated on worry. So that's what I saw that was it's like they transcend it to what they do. Simple.
Mm-hmm.
So that inspired me. So it's like
and
from
one
that,
more comment.
Sure.
I love that big painting of the man, which I did not catch what exactly where it comes from, the reference, but the way you use the colors and the brush strokes and the mixing of color and the expression, it's amazing.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. That was a short. I wish the depth of that I wanted to go further into. I didn't get a chance to imply the detail. I wanted to, and you really work with that. Far as I got, far as the satisfaction was the tone of the eyes, the strength of the eyes. I wanted to give the facial expression, the depth of what it really means, the symbolic thought of what everybody exercise their spiritual thoughts through, and I think it would need a much more depth, of expression.
Did you say he was Ethiopian?
Yes. Yeah. So I was impressed by the Ethiopian culture. I, had no idea, such as the history of that.
I think too with this painting, I actually printed off the article for him, but when I saw actually the painting, it was a picture with the man and he was holding a Bible and with some of the background stuff, but the the color and the expressions and the mix of stuff that he put in, it just amazed me that he got that from the picture that he saw, because it was just, like a picture someone took for an article, one of those little pictures.
Did the 4th century Ethiopian Bible have any art, or is that your own addition to what had to have been the script?
The writing was Torah. That gave it the more in-depth energy on time, the history of that. Torah, the writing, the Jewish writing. Yeah, so I'm like, oh God. I mean, that got me to the heart. I was like, I got to do this painting here. Strong piece. So I'm going to continue with that painting as far as finishing. I'm not finished. It's not finished. It takes more depth.
Any other comments here? Thoughts? Nancy?
I just want to comment on the birds. I go out for a walk in the morning, and it can be a beautiful morning, but in your mind, you might be thinking ahead. In your mind, you're somewhere else, or other thoughts of in the past. But when you hear a bird song, it's like calling you to be here now. It's like a mindfulness call, like when they chime a singing bowl or something, and bong, when the bird sings, it's like you're back. You're right here, appreciating the beauty of nature now.
It's like life, and life, you're live. Yeah.
You said, you work both with oil and acrylic. Which one's easier to fix up if you goof?
Acrylic.
I said he works with acrylic and with oil. I'm wondering which one is easier to fix up if you goof.
Acrylic is very much acrylic. Acrylic. Anybody hear that? Yeah, acrylic. Yeah. All right. That's a yes. Acrylic's easier. Why?
Why? People want to know.
Because the material, the latex, and it's water soluble, so you can just brush over and create something else on top of it. And then another fascinating thing that I love about acrylics too, if you want to do a painting that's more in depth, you can layer upon layer upon layer, and it gives it more depth. You have a better build, once you layer acrylic.
Now, do you have an example of that there? Could you?
I thought the layer thing looks with the sunset picture.
That's, the sky took a lot of layer.
Can you go up to them?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. Some lines here took a lot of depth, but with talking about water soluble. It's one fascinating thing too about acrylics. Using a water base, you can make the material thin as possible. So, for the study that I utilize, far as using a sky, you don't want to go in doing a sky real dark. Once you go into painting a sky, you want to, especially if you're using acrylic. Less acrylic that you use in the formulation would be water more. It comes out where you can build, because if you look at sky, you're dealing with air and all those important areas. You want to make starting of a sky thin and soft as you can to make the proper blends. So it takes time, but acrylics helps me with the blends of that to create. So, the layers here are such as creating a sky formulations. Took the working with acrylic, kind of easy.
Where was that sunset?
This was through Google. I happened to see that painting, and it let reminded me of the painting that I had done of a earlier. That's an elephant on the end, and I saw the beautiful elephant, so I thought I'd create another elephant, painting. And I thought, that painting, with the tree there.
If you go up to the paintings there, it's
Huh?
wonderful to have you with the painting.
Oh, okay.
Pointing to it.
Oh, okay. So,
Yeah.
all right. All right. So, I wanted to give the painting what I saw in the painting was the elephant was in a relaxed stage, going to the tree, and just comfortability. It was in its own environment, and I think the tree gave it covering and comfortability. So I thought the structure of putting those two together was, interesting. Also, like the colors that I enjoyed. One of my favorite colors is purple, so that's what drew me to the painting itself too. Was seeing beautiful colors of purple.
Do you work with any other medias like watercolors or?
Sometime water, and when I work with water, it's like, just like doing a sketch, you want to get the basis of the formula first. So, the fundamentals of the starting of, for me, creativity, starting of that process. And I like burn-ins, which I didn't show any pictures of burn-ins. I usually work with wood for burn-ins. That's more of a coarse work, because you're working with wood and you got to do some sense of sculpting, with it. But it's interesting, and the technique also is interesting where when you create the lines, it helps you to look more into the wood process because you're going in depth. You're doing the depth part of going further into the wood. And solidifying color, lighting. Yeah. Yes, go ahead.
Did Roman Johnson ever paint you, or did you ever paint him?
Yeah, it's been some time ago. When I was 13, that was one of my basic studies because the opportunity, it wasn't just like I have a mentor. I had the opportunity in realizing who he was. I adored Roman. So it's like I'm 13, so I'm looking at this idol. And the opportunity to sketch him, that was one of my huge practices because I was intrigued already wanting to paint faces, draw faces. And, the studies was the eyes, nose, ears, and the basic fundamentals of that. And for me to have that study that create him was.
So he taught you to focus on the eyes and the expression.
Yeah. The things that Roman shared with me in the sense of focusing, and I take this to heart just as well. He used the term, don't just look. He used the term see. And I'm thinking like see, just basic see. He gave me an in-depth term on just to see, because, I'm like, okay, I see it, just simple. But he said, no, see. So he used a stronger term, see. I'm like, okay, I'm looking. So to understand using parallel lines if you have to, the depth of vision, if you can see but further look into what you're really seeing, or use your imagination to look in depth, and to help the influence of visualizing is more than just seeing. It's really going in depth of seeing.
And it seems like you put yourself into it. We can recognize your work like you can recognize the work of any artist because you've got yourself into it.
Yeah,
somehow.
yeah. It's been a practice. I truly have a passion in painting, so that's one of the things. I can go anywhere, and my mind is on art, and I don't look at it as weird. I look at it as like I get a chance term see. Your eyes are open, to just about every doggone thing, and it's not the typical vision. You keep your heart humored, I would say. Yes.
Have you tried water soluble?
Water solubles. No, I haven't. I haven't.
I've been using for several years.
Okay,
Love it.
and you did good work. I saw your work. Yeah, yeah. I will give it a try. Yeah. So.
Your work is so vibrant, and the word that comes to my mind is alive.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. When I go into creating, I personally look at the energy that I'm bringing. And a lot of it has to do with the mood of that person or the environment that I'm around. It helps to create, because if, just I'm being honest here, if you go into that creativity with your mind not in a healthy sense, you create whatever, your brain is set on, so I recognize that. And I guess I'm on the side of positivity, and that's what my influence is trying to make, is something that influence of positivity. They give life, so those are a lot of paintings that I go into is usually inspirational. I'm inspired by.
I'm envisioning your home studio in your living room with half-started paintings that you move from one to another, and 3 children that are painting as well. And I imagine you are inspiring these children a lot, and there is, great conversations going on. Do they ever paint on your canvases, whether you know it or not? Do you ever find their little touches or things on your canvases? I'm just wondering.
You know what the word is? Tweaked.
Does Ezekiel have anything to say about that? He's laughing.
Yeah, they see if they can measure it with Papa.
Curtis,
Yeah.
I wanted to pick up on the comments in the room about seeing.
Yeah.
And there's a quote, I can't give credit to the writer, I don't think. Here on earth, everything is sacred for those who know how to see.
Yeah.
And you, to me, are a great example.
Oh, thank you.
Of having that.
Thank you. Right. Yes, ma'am.
I see your canvases are different sizes, so
Yeah.
what determines what size you use?
The expression would bring the expression. Again, when I'm inspired by something, I try to get the most out of what's going to bring the most out of that painting. The sense of subject, and subjects I look at it unlimited. So the limitations that canvas size might bring. Yeah.
You inspire us how you redirect the challenge of this cancer.
Thank you.
You take it on and say, you're not getting the best of me.
No.
And you go on to be so creative and so inspiring for all of us.
Thank you. Keeping life alive.
Keeping life alive. I like that. Okay. Oh, and this is Joan, huh? Here, let me give you.
I think he's left something that I find rather important out. Is beside having the hemophilia and the cancer, he's on dialysis 3 times a day. I mean, 3 times a week.
Well, every time I've been calling him, he's been on dialysis, but he goes on about repairing and
Well, and the thing is that he's not only doing that, but he's picking 3 little kids up at school. I mean, he's taken on all kinds of things, which is enough to make people want to get in bed and not get up. And he just goes on, and the life comes out in his painting. And he's passing it on to Zaid, who said, look, I can make this look like it has depth because you turn it around like this to fit this marker. So, you just have no idea what all this will bring all over, to his family and to other people who don't know him. And I'm just really impressed by what he does.
And tell us who you are, Joan.
I'm his mother-in-law.
Mother-in-law. Wonderful. That comes to me with a story. This Rabbi Folkman, a wonderful rabbi from Temple Israel, he was coming to our home for dinner a while ago, and my mother and Bob were there, and Bob says to the rabbi, "This is my mother-in-law." And the rabbi looks at him. He says, "Son, behold your mother. Mother, behold your son." So we have a way of dropping in law and coming to mother and son in the family. And I sense with the glitter in your eye, you are truly mother and so happy and proud of him.
Yeah.
And we are so grateful you are
Thank
here.
you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. I appreciate everybody that came. Yeah, I really appreciate you guys coming. Thank you so much.